The U.S. struck Iran, and Trump ended his short statement by saying, "Now is the time for peace." It was as if Trump had struck out of necessity, the Epstein case and the Los Angeles actions, and clearly told Iran, "Don't respond and come to the table." He hit facilities that had already been evacuated beforehand and were inside/bottom of the mountain. So it was actually a symbolic attack. Now, Iran has two courses of action. Either it will close the Strait of Hormuz, restrict its energy supply, and make the world economy pay a heavy price. And in the meantime, it will hit the U.S. bases in the Gulf just beyond its nose in the heaviest way. That is, it will accept the engagement, increase the tempo, and respond strongly. Or it will continue its missile attacks on Israel, hit a few U.S. bases for show, send a message to the domestic public opinion, and keep the tempo of war under control for a while longer. A prolonged war and the continuation of the regime in Iran would mean the defeat of the U.S. and Israel. There may be two factors that could disrupt this fiction: overthrowing the regime from within with a foreign-backed and powerful uprising/civil war in Iran, similar to Syria or Libya, or using a sufficient number of tactical nuclear weapons to force the current regime into submission. The nuclear option is not as easy as it seems, as the fallout and radiation could affect the entire region, Gulf countries, and even partially Israel. And this effect could last for many years. The Chernobyl example should not be forgotten. It is also important to consider whether Iran can mount a nuclear response with foreign support. The Chernobyl example should not be forgotten. It should also be well calculated whether Iran can respond with a nuclear response with foreign support. The outcome of a protracted war is determined by resource power and public support for war, i.e., social power/will. In other words, if the people do not believe that the war is justified, they resist and obstruct the government. Given the wars in Gaza and Ukraine, it must be recognized that the U.S. and Israel no longer have the resources to sustain a protracted war, nor the strong popular support behind it. Moreover, it is clear that China and Russia and even Pakistan will give Iran more and more strategic support. Netanyahu-driven U.S. President Trump, without congressional approval, has thrown his country, the region, and even the world into great uncertainty. However, today's parameters suggest that the sensitivities for the U.S.-Israel may be higher.